Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I am going to share my favorite places to visit while in Ireland. It is a magical place full of history, beautiful landscapes, and a unique coastline. I have 12 places on my list and a few extras at the end. The first one is Ballinesto Woods in County Wicklow. It is just an hour south of Dublin in the Wicklow Mountains National Park. We passed one parking lot that was closed and parked just a bit north in a smaller parking lot that fit about 7 cars. We hiked a short time on a nice path that I hoped led to the forest with the unique steps. We made it to the enclosed forest with lots of pine trees. It kind of reminded me of the woods that Little Red Riding Hood would have traveled through. It was dark, mysterious, and had these amazing wooden steps heading down into the forest. Even on a bright sunny day, it felt spooky, eerie, and haunted. There was a great viewpoint of Loch Tay, also known as Guinness Lake, across the street from where we parked. There's other viewpoints along the road as you drive too. You can see it from these viewpoints, or if you have time, there are hiking trails. The lake itself is on private land. We stayed at the Glendalough Hotel, which was right next to the Round Tower and Cemetery. We happened to be there on Halloween morning, which added to the spooky experience. The Wicklow Mountains take you back in time and make you feel like you are on a movie set. Probably why several movies have been filmed in the area. Next is the town of Kilkenny, which is inland. If you are traveling across Ireland, then this is a great way to travel through. Otherwise, it's about an hour and 45 minutes from Dublin. You will have to pay to park, and we parked in the car park from the market, which was a good central location, and there's quite a bit of shopping and food here. Our first stop was heading to Kilkenny Castle. You can tour the outside for free, and there is a tour for the inside, which is a fee. We just walked around the outside in the interest of time. It showcases stunning medieval architecture and has an impressive collection of art. There have been encounters of ghosts reported too. As we walked to our next stops, we walked along the medieval mile, which is pretty cool with all the stone. Some of the things were closed while we were there, but there's a ton to do for different interests, and the town itself has neat shops and places to eat. Next on our stops was the Knies Cathedral. We only had time to walk around and admire the architecture. It is the second longest cathedral in Ireland, and the tower is one of only 3 such medieval round towers in Ireland that can still be climbed to the top. One of the many stained glass windows, the east window, is a replica of the original 13th century window. This cathedral contains some of the finest 16th century monuments in Ireland. Our last stop was St. Mary's Cathedral, which was right by our car. It is situated on the highest point in Kilkenny and can be seen from all over the city. They started construction in 1843, and the first service was in 1857, so it took almost 14 years to build and cost approximately 25,000 euros. The style is considered early English Gothic, and the denomination is Roman Catholic. I was very impressed with the outside, as well as the inside of this cathedral, especially the details, design, and the brilliant colors. Next on the list is the Rock of Cashel. It's located in County Tipperary, inland near a few other places of interest. The parking was a little hard to find for us. You go in like you're driving to the structure and then go right to go to the car park. We visited in 2007 and wanted to see it again in 2023. Such an impressive structure with so much history. We went towards the end of the day to avoid the crowds. They have a tour that you can join for the first part. It is very informative and I would suggest listening to it. That's how we found out this piece came down during a storm 200 years ago. Anyone else see the face? The inside of St. Patrick's Cathedral is really neat with high ceilings and so much detail to look at. Make sure you take your time and try to take it all in. There are gravestones inside and outside, so take a look at what they say. There's a section you can go into that shows what it would have looked like back then. This is Cormac Chapel, which you can go into for an extra fee. It's built with sandstone rather than limestone, so you can easily see the separation in stone. Whether you come for the history, the views, or just to get some really neat photos, the Rock of Cashel is an essential stop. We stayed at the Bailey Hotel in the town of Cashel. We had a great view from our room. Next on our list is right next door, the Hore Abbey. It is always open and free to enter. There isn't a parking lot or any parking by the entrance. We walked from our hotel, and you can easily walk from the Rock of Cashel too. There was not one person there when we went in the morning. Hore Abbey is the ruins of a monastery. It was originally a Benedictine monastery, but the Archbishop banished the Benedictines from the monastery because, as the story goes, he had a dream they were plotting to murder him. He then invited the Cistercians to come and take over the abbey. Hore Abbey was the last Cistercian foundation in Ireland. The best part about exploring this quiet, undisturbed place was there were no distractions of other people. All you heard were the birds overhead, and there was an eerie, ominous feel as you walked around, which just added to the ambiance of this beautiful place. And it has a great view of the Rock of Cashel. Next on my list is Gougane Forest. It's located on the south end of Ireland in what seems like the middle of nowhere. This forest is the most magical place I've been to. The green colors are indescribable, and I'm pretty sure fairies live here. You can drive around the park loop, and you can hike it as well. I think we drove around it like 4 times, so it doesn't take a long time. It rained off and on, so I'm glad we had our umbrellas. I would recommend driving the loop first, and then picking a spot to hike. We spent the whole day here, and could have spent another day. We did the blue trail first, then the white trail. The views were absolutely stunning, and we even saw some deer. You can't go wrong with whatever hike you choose to do here. The river, the trees, the forest, it's all so magical. You also have to stop at the St. Finbarr's Oratory. It's like something out of a fairy tale and so picturesque. Check to see if it's open. If it is, you can go inside and take a look around. They hold weddings here if you're looking for a place to get married. We stayed at the Gougane Hotel, which was amazing. It's right by the lake, and you get to see St. Finbarr's in different conditions, which can make it look completely different. There are 2 towns close by, about 30-minute drive, Glengariff and Bantry. There's a cool castle on your way from Gougane to Glengariff called Carriganas Castle. We've stayed in Glengariff, which has the Blue Pool and a ferry to Garnish Island, which is seasonal. It was closed both times we happened to be there. The Glengariff Woods is a neat place too if you are in the area. The next place on my list will not surprise you, the Ring of Kerry, which is quite well known and for good reason. We have done the Ring of Kerry all 3 times we've been to Ireland. The first time, we took a bus tour, and the next 2 times we had a rental car so we could see more. Some highlights along the Ring of Kerry are Lady's View, which gives you a broad landscape view of the land, the Gap of Dunlow, which can look very different depending on the water level. Here it is at low water level, and here it is when there's more water. Again, no water, and lots of water. The drive has lots of sheep and narrow roads. The town of Waterville had these huge waves on the shoreline, and of course, all the beautiful views along this coastal drive. We stayed in Killarney at the Killarney International Hotel the last 2 times we were there. It's a great home base to explore the area, and it has some yummy food. Not far from the town of Killarney is the National Park. You could easily spend the whole day here. Some of the places to visit include the Torque Waterfall, Ross Castle, and the Muckross House. Next on my list, the Skellig Ring, which is an added drive on the Ring of Kerry. Bigger tour buses do not go here because the roads are tiny. It's my favorite part though. The biggest reason I like it is the views it offers, especially from the Kilkee Cliffs. There is a small fee at the car park, but well worth it. The magnificent views are rugged, vast, and naturally beautiful. You walk up and see beehive huts on your right. Then you can go right or left, each with a different view. If you only have time to go on one side, I would go left. It can be very windy, so bring extra layers. They do close it due to wind sometimes. If you want to visit Skellig Michael, the location of 2 Star Wars movies, then you will have to book far in advance as they only allow 180 visitors per day. The ferry wasn't running when we were there. It closes during winter months or bad weather. We did enjoy the views of the islands from the shoreline at St. Finnan's Bay. The bigger, closer island is called Puffin Island. And yes, there are puffins on Puffin Island. On our way back from the cliffs, there were some really cute alpacas. They're near the beehive huts. You must visit the Skellig Chocolate Factory for a tasting. My favorite was the white chocolate with lime. Next on the list is Dingle Peninsula. Not as busy as the Ring of Kerry, but equally as beautiful and just north of there. So many great spots on this peninsula, starting with Castle Gregory Beach on the north side of the peninsula. I would say it's prettiest at low tide when the rocks are out of the water, but the surrounding land is beautiful no matter when. There are a couple different car parks where you can access the beach. National Geographic once described it as the most beautiful place on earth, and the views are definitely worth a visit. Connemara Pass is right in the middle, and it's not for the apprehensive drivers. It can be a tricky pass if it's busy, as there are many areas only one car can pass through, and you are going through a mountain pass. There's a beautiful waterfall next to the car park to stop at. If you have the time, it's worth getting out and exploring the surrounding area. On the south end is the town of Dingle. This is where we stayed, which was a great home base for a couple days. There are a lot of shops and restaurants and places to stay. Get some ice cream at Murphy's, eat and listen to live music at one of the many pubs, and admire the beautiful harbor full of ships. It's especially beautiful at sunset, where you can listen to the birds and hear the waves and possibly get a glimpse of a dolphin. Fanore Beach and Castle is just east of Dingle. It's a rocky shoreline that offers amazing views. Unfortunately, a down poured on us while we were there, but the beach has this castle ruins and these incredibly round, smooth rocks. But be careful as you walk on them. There was a nice bench surrounded by pretty yellow flowers. If it wasn't raining, I would have sat there and enjoyed this beautiful view. The cliffs mixed with the rocks and the waves crashing made this beach a must-see. Inch Beach is on the eastern end, and it really rained on us here. We couldn't catch a break with the rain on our visit to the Dingle Peninsula. We did wait for about 15 minutes, and the rain stopped long enough for us to get out and take some photos. If you haven't noticed a theme yet, there are gorgeous beaches, all with unique qualities on the Dingle Peninsula. On the western coastline, you will reach Cumminole Beach, which is one of our favorite beaches. There's a viewpoint overlooking the beach where you can see the Blasket Islands and the beach. If you are coming from Dingle, you will see the viewpoint first. Then drive a ways more to a car park, and then you can walk down to the beach. You will want to visit when the tide is lower to take advantage of the whole beach. The cliffs, rocks, and waves are stunning. It's beautiful from on the beach and at the top overlooking it. Dunmore Head is located here too. We decided not to walk up due to weather. You can access it from the same car park. Just north of here is Dunquin Pier, where you can catch a ferry to the Blasket Islands during the summer months. It's a really neat pier that you can walk down this cool path, and I liked the jetting rocks. The views at the top really show the green grasses and the color of the water. Next on my list is Kilkee Cliffs. If you plan to go to the Cliffs of Moher, you aren't too far from these cliffs, and they're free. They don't get a lot of attention, but I thought these cliffs were beautiful and worth a visit. The Kilkee Cliff Walk is a scenic walk along the cliffs with views of the ocean and the town of Kilkee. You can park by the Diamond Rocks Cafe and walk as far as you would like, depending on the time you have. There's a place you can walk down closer to the water, and the view is unique with the cliff edges. Use caution and have good footwear. We were going to go to Loophead Lighthouse, but it was closed. It's very important if you're visiting during shoulder season that you check to make sure things are open. The whole walk is 3.5 miles out and back, but like I said, you only have to go as far as you want. The next spot on my list is Hags Head on the west coast of Ireland, which is the south end of the Cliffs of Moher. We parked at this yellow farmhouse for €5 per car. If you put Hags Head into Google, this is where it takes you. It's approximately a 15 to 20 minute walk to the cliffs on a paved road with beautiful countryside views. I loved this vantage point because it was less crowded. As you walk up to Hags Head, there's a path you can take down to the cliffs before reaching the Moher Tower, which is incredible. It felt like I had the place to myself, and the views were amazing. You need appropriate footwear and be careful as it can be slippery. It was a calm, sunny day when we were there. You never know what the weather will be like. The first time we tried to see the cliffs in 2007, it was rainy and there was no view. We got very lucky this day. This was my favorite spot. It felt like I was walking through a movie set. We chose to go at the end of the day and saw the sun setting, which added a beautiful array of colors in the sky. Hags Head offers incredible views, less crowds, and a unique experience. We also did the traditional Cliffs of Moher experience with the Visitor Center. I did prefer Hags Head, but I'm glad we did both. The Cliffs of Moher Visitor Center had more people, shopping, and it offered a more touristy experience. We wanted to climb O'Brien's Tower, but I was not impressed with the view, and didn't feel it was worth the wait in line. This is the view from the path. It was getting late in the day, so we headed back to our hotel in Lahinch and caught the sunset at the beach. Next spot is Fanore Beach, a popular spot for surfing on the west coast of Ireland. It is located in the Barra National Park, which is just north of the Cliffs of Moher. This was the most active beach we visited. It has a surf school, food truck, and plenty of parking. The beach itself had a great mix of green grasses, dunes, sandy shores, rocks, and beautiful views. It had a great vibe and was fun to watch the surfers. Fanore Beach is a blue flag beach, which means it meets the standards for water quality, safety, and public environmental education. I'll post the link to the blue flag beaches in my description. If you are interested in archaeology and geology, then you will want to visit this site because there's more to this beach than a sandy shoreline. It features a sand dune complex, the oldest archaeological remains in the Burin, and spectacular biokarst limestone. You can check out the Burin National Park while you're in the area, which has a unique landscape and vegetation. We tried to go to the Kerr Bridge Garden nearby, but the gate was closed and open by appointment only. We were able to see a little bit from outside the gate. On our way back, we saw some cows by the river that added a little adventure and fun because they were pretty animated. The last spot on my list is Connemara National Park, which is on the west coast north of Galway. I love this area and would recommend staying a couple days here to really experience it. The national park is free and they have great trails you can take. I would recommend the Blue Route. It's a moderate 3-kilometer trail. If you are short on time or don't want anything strenuous, I would recommend the Green Route. I started with the Yellow Trail, but then veered off to the Blue Route to get better views of the landscape, and it had cool stone steps and a boardwalk. You can't go wrong with all the views at this park. You could spend the whole day here, or pick a trail that's right for you with the time that you have. If hiking isn't your thing, you can visit the Hore Abbey nearby. There is a fee to go onto the grounds and see inside the abbey, but you could also just go to the parking lot for a quick view. We stayed at the Lochnack Lodge, which was simply amazing. The scenery is breathtaking, and right outside their front door, you have mountain views. There's a great spot called the Pine Island Viewpoint by Derryclare Loch, which is worth a stop. The Kilkenny Fjord is just north of there. It was raining when we went, but the orange foliage was pretty. And you have to make a stop at Ashley Falls and Dulac Valley. That's the end of my list, but I do have some spots I wanted to mention that you should check out. The town of Adare is cute and unique with the thatched roofs and a beautiful park in the middle of town. If you can swing it, the Adare Manor was the best hotel I've ever stayed at. I'm talking luxurious excellence. The altar wedge tomb surprisingly had incredible scenery at the south end of Ireland. Of course, I have to mention Blarney Castle. But do make sure you spend time on the grounds, not just the castle. Carrigafoyle Castle was incredible, but make sure it's open for the full experience. There are 3 beaches I wanted to mention on the west coast of Ireland. Old Head Beach, which is just north of Connemara. Dogs Bay Beach and Gertine Beach are right next to each other, so you could see both at the same time. These beaches are just south of Connemara. And then there's Derrynane Beach on the Ring of Kerry. Dungar Castle is the most photographed castle in Ireland and worth a stop. Leap Castle is very unique with an interesting past. Timaleek Friary is a great stop south of Cork near Kinsale along the coast. The Uric Stone Circle is a neat place to visit. This completes the places I would suggest visiting in Ireland. These are based on my experience, and I'm sure there are many more amazing areas to visit, and I would love to hear what you would add to this list. Please fill the comments with your favorites, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on travel and photography.